walk outside, scroll to your phone, ask your smart speaker something. I mean, AI is everywhere, isn't it?
It really is. It's woven into, well, just about everything we do daily.
And it's moving so fast, kind of makes your head spin sometimes.
Definitely. Which brings up this huge question, right? How do we prepare young people, and honestly ourselves too, to actually navigate this world?
Yeah, to understand it, not just use it.
And that's exactly the question the OECD and the European Commission have been grappling with. We're diving into this significant draft document they've put out.
Right, the Empowering Learners for the Age of AI, an AI literacy framework for primary and secondary education. Sounds pretty official.
It is. It's a big deal, a major international push to get everyone on the same page about what AI literacy is.
And not just define it, but figure out how to teach it in schools.
Exactly, how to teach it. And it's even linked to future big assessments like PISA in 2029. So it has real teeth.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Our mission for this deep dive is what exactly? To get inside this framework.
Yeah, pretty much. Pull out the key bits. Understand why they're saying this is so urgent now, and map out what they think students really need to know, be able to do, and importantly, value about AI.
And the urgency, well, it jumps right out when you look at some of the stats they mentioned. We know young people, like Gen Z, they're already using AI quite a lot. There was a survey finding they learned about it from social media, news, kind of informally.
Right, not necessarily structured learning.
But here's the kicker. Nearly half, 49% of 17 to 27-year-olds really struggle to critically evaluate AI's flaws. Like, its ability to just make stuff up.
Which is a huge problem if you're relying on it for information. They can use it, maybe, but don't quite get the limitations.
And what's fascinating is pairing that with what students expect for their future.
Yeah, there was another study cited, wasn't there?
Exactly. 74% of European 12 to 17-year-olds think AI will be massive in their careers. Huge number.
Good.
But less than half, only 46%, feel their schools are actually preparing them for that future.
And even fewer, 44%, think their teachers are well prepared. That's a pretty big gap.
It really is. A gap between perceived need and current reality in the classroom. It totally sets the stage for why AI literacy is becoming such a priority.
It's not theoretical anymore. Students are using these tools now, today.
And bumping up against real risks while they do it.
Exactly. Things like disinformation, embedded bias, privacy issues, fairness concerns. It's complex stuff.
And if we don't give them the tools to understand and navigate that,
then there's a real risk AI could actually make things worse, like widening skills gaps or reinforcing existing inequalities.
Plus, it's changing learning itself, isn't it? How kids research, write, work together.
And how teachers plan or give feedback. It's impacting both sides.
So, without a clear approach, like this framework tries to provide, you risk students just, blindly trusting AI outputs.
Yeah, or compromising academic integrity. Or maybe worse, not developing those core human skills, critical thinking, judgment that AI just can't replicate.
Okay, so let's get into the framework itself. How do they actually define AI? It's a broad term.
It is. They use a definition that aligns with the OECD and the EU AI Act. Essentially, a machine-based system operates with some autonomy, adapts.
Okay.
It infers things from input data and then generates outputs. Things like predictions, content, recommendations, decisions, stuff that influences the world around us, virtual or physical.
So it's the broad category, unless they say something specific like generative AI.
Precisely. That's the general usage in the document.
Got it. So then what about AI literacy? What does that mean according to them?
They define it as this combination. It's technical knowledge plus durable skills plus these future-ready attitudes, all needed to really thrive.
Thrive in a world shaped by AI.
Right. It equips learners to, engage with AI, create with AI, manage its use, and even understand the basics of designing it.
While also being critical.
Absolutely. Critically evaluating the benefits, the risks, the ethical side. It's very much about future prep, making informed ethical choices.
So way more than just knowing prompt engineering.
Oh, much more. It's understanding the why and the so what, not just the how.
And you mentioned it's built around knowledge, skills, and attitudes. KSA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
KSA, these are the core elements designed to last longer than any single AI tool or platform. Foundational stuff.
Can you break those down a bit? Knowledge, skills, attitudes.
Sure. Knowledge is the conceptual understanding, the tech side and the society side. Skills are those fundamental human abilities, but applied in an AI world.
Okay.
And attitudes are the mindsets, the dispositions you bring to interacting with AI, how you approach it.
Right. Let's dig into some examples. What kind of knowledge do they highlight as essential?
Okay, a really core piece of knowledge is understanding that AI systems work on probabilities. They use algorithms, statistical inference. They generate probable outputs.
Definite truth.
Exactly, not truth. Machines learn patterns, adjust statistical weights, but they don't understand in a human sense. They don't have intent.
Like with generative AI writing text.
Precisely. It's predicting the next most probable word based on patterns in vast amounts of text data. It seems human-like, but there's no actual comprehension behind it.
And knowing that helps you see its limits.
Yes, it demystifies it. Helps you understand it lacks emotion, ethics, real context, originality. That's critical knowledge point K4.1 in the framework.
That feels incredibly important, especially thinking back to that stat about students struggling to spot AI flaws.
Absolutely. It's fundamental, another huge knowledge point. AI is not neutral.
How so?
Because it's built by humans, trained on data collected by humans, using algorithms designed by humans. It reflects our choices, our assumptions, our biases.
So bias is baked in, essentially.
Bias is inherent, they argue, K2.1, K2.5, which means AI can easily perpetuate unfairness or harm if we're not constantly examining it for things like fairness, representation, ethical impacts.
It holds up a mirror, maybe.
In many ways, yes. A mirror to the data it was fed, which often reflects societal biases. And one more knowledge point they stress, which often gets missed.
What?
The environmental cost. AI takes serious computing power. That means energy, materials, water, a real carbon footprint, K4.2.
Right. The physical impact of the digital. That's important. Okay, powerful knowledge points. What about skills?
Top of the list, critical thinking, S1. Evaluating AI content, is it accurate? Is it fair? Is there bias?
Because it can look so convincing, even when wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So convincing. The scenario they use is great. Student asks an AI about history, fine, but then they have to go cross-reference it with reliable human sources. That's the critical step.
Don't just take its word for it. Makes sense. What else?
Problem solving, S7. This is about judgment, deciding when AI is the right tool and how to use it ethically and effectively, assessing the risks.
Like, should I use AI for this task or not?
Yeah. Their scenario contrasts writing a personal birthday card needs human touch, emotion, versus maybe using AI to help outline an academic paper. Different tasks, different appropriateness. Is individuality needed? Does it align with learning goals?
Choosing the right tool for the job, considering the human element.
That's it. And also, computational thinking, S3. Breaking down problems, giving clear instructions so the AI can actually assist effectively.
Like prompt engineering.
That's a perfect example of computational thinking in this context. Structuring your request logically.
Okay, knowledge, skills.
Yeah.
What about attitudes? The mindsets.
Key one is being responsible. A1. Thinking carefully before using AI, being accountable for how you use it, aiming to prevent harm. It also includes believing everyone deserves to understand AI's impact.
Responsibility. And what else?
Being empathetic, A5. This ties back to bias. It means really considering how AI affects different people, different communities, the environment, weighing benefits and risks for specific groups, not just in general.
Understanding that the impact isn't the same for everyone.
Exactly. So those KSA knowledge, skills, attitudes, they're the foundation.
Right.
And then the framework organizes what students should actually be able to do into 4 domains of interaction.
Okay, the 4 domains. How do these KSA come alive in practice? What are the domains?
They are engaging with AI, creating with AI, managing AI, and designing AI. Learners build competence across these.
And they use scenarios to show what this looks like.
Yeah, the scenarios really help make it concrete.
Give us an example for engaging with AI.
Okay, think about recommendation algorithms, YouTube, shopping sites, news feeds. Engaging means exploring how they work, how they use data patterns.
But not just the how.
Right. It's critically thinking, see engaging 3, about how those recommendations might be narrowing your view, creating filter bubbles, or pushing biased content, not just helping you find things.
Understanding the potential manipulation. Okay, what about creating with AI?
This is where you collaborate with tools like generative AI. You experiment with prompts, refine what it gives you.
So using it as a tool.
Yes. But the key is reflecting on how that interaction shapes your own thinking. See creating 3. Like using an AI coding helper, then thinking, how did this change how I solved that problem? It's about mindful partnership.
Aware collaboration.
Oh,
Got it. And managing AI.
Managing is about strategy. See managing 2. Deciding which parts of a bigger task AI can handle and which absolutely need a human.
Like project management with an AI assistant.
Kind of. Their example, planning a science fair project. AI might brainstorm ideas or find background info, but humans, they vote on the topic, design the experiment, run it, interpret the results.
Knowing where the human judgment is essential.
Exactly. Or using AI to summarize sources, but students must add context, spot bias, discuss, interpret. It's about playing to strengths, human and AI.
Being the conductor, not just a passenger. Okay, last one. Designing AI. This doesn't mean all kids become coders, right?
No, definitely not. It's about understanding the design process and its implications.
How do they illustrate that?
One scenario, C Designing 3, involves learners collecting and labeling data, say, pictures of snacks. This simple task helps them grasp how data quality and representation directly impact how an AI model performs, and who it might affect positively or negatively. Shows how bias gets in early.
Seeing the building blocks?
Yeah. Another one, C Designing 4, is evaluating AI systems using criteria, maybe rating different AI joke generators or testing chatbots. It gives them a sense of agency.
Right, that quote you mentioned, helping students see they can shape technology, not just be shaped by it.
That's the core idea, fostering critical understanding of how tech is built, not just consuming it.
This sounds like a massive shift for schools, for teachers. What's their role in all this?
Oh, it's huge. Absolutely central. Educators need to integrate these ideas, guide inquiry, lead those tricky ethical discussions, make smart choices about using AI tools in class based on age and context.
It's a lot to ask. They'll need support.
For sure. The framework itself is meant to help by clarifying the what, but yeah, it implicitly screams we need serious professional development and support for teachers.
And is this framework totally new, or does it connect to other work?
It definitely builds on existing foundations. They mention things like Europe's DIGCOMP framework, UNESCO's work, Digital Promise, AI for K-12 in the US. It's grounded in prior thinking.
So it's part of a broader conversation. And it's still a draft. What's next?
Yeah, it's a draft. They've been gathering feedback from teachers, policymakers, everyone. Globally, there was a public consultation.
And a final version.
Expected in 2026. And it should come with more practical examples, assessments, tying it more strongly to things like PISA 2029.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, this OECD framework is basically a roadmap.
Yeah, a roadmap for AI literacy in schools.
Driven by this urgent need because AI is already here. It defines literacy through that KSA combo: knowledge, skills, attitudes, focusing on critical understanding and ethics.
Right, not just tech skills.
And it shows how this plays out in those 4 domains: engaging, creating, managing, designing, using real-world scenarios. It's about making students informed participants.
Not just passive users. Understanding this gives you, the listener, a real sense of where education policy is heading globally on AI.
And maybe a lens to view your own interactions with AI too.
Definitely. It's about gaining agency, making informed choices yourself.
And perhaps the most resonant thing woven all the way through is that constant focus on the human side. It pushes us to ask not just, what can AI do?
But, as they put it, what should it do and whom does it serve? That ethical question is central.
Which leaves you wondering, doesn't it? Maybe AI literacy at its core is actually less about mastering the machine.
And more about strengthening our own human capacities. Critical thinking, ethical judgment, fairness, especially when faced with these powerful new tools.
Something to really think about as you go about your day, interacting with the AI that's already woven into it.